Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of The Draw Step, and this is the first deck review I have ever done that has come with an intro letter. Ahem. Hello, lovely viewers. This deck was made not by me, but by my wonderful girlfriend. She is so good at everything she does. I am proud to present this deck that she so carefully curated. If you have mommy issues, I would consider booking a therapy appointment before you play against this deck. Also, if you enjoy this video and think this deck is kind of cool, you should tell her in the comments below. I read them on every video, so I'll see it. Please enjoy this deck review of Emrakul. So as we mentioned, today's video is on Emrakul, the World Anew, an absolutely toxic, disgustingly strong commander. 12 mana for a 12/12 that says when you cast a spell, gain control of all creatures target player controls. So if you have an opponent like who's doing a bunch of tokens, makes a giant token army, well now that token army is your token army. It has flying, protection from spells, and from permanents that were cast this turn. And when Emrakul the World Anew leaves a battlefield, sacrifice all creatures you control. But then it also has Madness, pay 6, colorless mana. So quite often, that whole 12 is a lie. You're not going to be paying that. There are multiple ways of cheating this commander out, and we are going to get into them. So, starting out, we have, obviously, an absurd amount of ramp. If you have a 12-mana commander, you better be able to afford that bad boy as quickly as possible. So we have things like Ominous Parcel, which will allow us to tutor for a land. Udama, Origin of Oblivion, it basically says whenever you tap a land for a colorless mana, it adds an additional colorless mana, so we're getting double duty on those. Similarly, you have Forsaken Monument for 5 mana. Colorless creatures get +2/+2, a nice buff to all of our Eldrazi. And then whenever you tap a permanent for colorless, add an additional colorless. And when you cast a colorless spell, you gain 2 life. So you're getting a lot of value with that. Mindstone Classic, 2 for 1 colorless. Basalt Monolith, 3 mana for this. It doesn't untap during your untap step, but you can tap it and add 3 and pay 3 to untap it. So if you have something like Forsaken Monument on the battlefield, then that just goes infinite. You have infinite colorless mana. Congratulations. Mannequin, 2 mana, taps for 1. Paladin Myr, 3 mana for this 2/2, but it taps for 2 colorless. Dreamstone Hedron, 6 mana, taps for 3 colorless. Burnished Heart, 3 mana. You can sacrifice it, search your library for 2 basic land cards, put them on the battlefield. Shuffle. Solemn Golem, classic. Again, enters the battlefield, get a land card. Plague Myr, you can tap it to add 1 to your mana pool. Gilded Lotus, 5 to add 3 of any color. One of the best pieces, a Soul Ring. Obviously, we got a bunch of lands. If you want to see all the lands, they are going to be, the whole deck list is in the description below. Now, as we are building up to get our commander out, we obviously need some other creatures, other like blockers, things like that to prepare. So we have things like Rooftop Percher. It's a 3/3. We have Conqueror's Galleon, a vehicle. Ancestral Statue, 4 for a 2/4, and when it enters the battlefield, return a non-land permanent you control to its owner's hand. This can be really good when your commander is on the battlefield. If you want to send it back to your hand to then be able to steal somebody else's creatures, you can do that. Conduit of Ruin, 6 mana. When you cast it, you may search your library for a colorless creature card with converted mana cost 7 or greater. Reveal it, shuffle your library, put it on top of it, and then the first creature spell you cast each turn costs 2 less to cast. So kind of not necessarily ramp, but help cut down on that massive cost. Junk Diver, 3 for a 1/1. When it dies, return another target artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. Suspicious Bookcase, mighty suspicious looking. 2 mana for a 0/4 defender, pay 3, tap, target creature can't be blocked this turn. Works great once Emrakul is on the battlefield. You can tap that, swing with Emrakul, do an absurd amount of damage with that. Metalwork Colossus, 11 mana for a 10/10, but you're never going to be paying it because it costs X less to cast for X the total mana value of non-creature artifacts you control. We have a bunch of them, all of our ramp pieces, so this thing is going to cost probably free. And then you can also sacrifice 2 artifacts, return it from your graveyard to your hand, keep running that bad boy back. Crashing Drawbridge, 2 mana for this 0/4 defender, and you can tap it. Creatures you control gain haste until end of turn. Bring out your commander and your newfound army that you just got. Spin it around, smack your opponent with it. Wandering Archaic, 5 mana for this 4/4. Whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery spell, they may pay 2. If they don't, you may copy that spell and choose new targets for the copy. That's fun, getting value off of your opponent's stuff. It's not bad stealing their stuff. You're stealing their spells as well. Zenith Chronicler, 2 mana, and it says whenever a player casts their first multicolored spell each turn, each other player draws a card. You're not casting any, but you'll be getting card draw from your opponents playing multicolored spells. Good stuff. Soul of New Phyrexia, 6 mana for this 6/6 with trample, and you can pay 5 permanents you control, gain indestructible until end of turn. Keep all of your stuff safe from your opponents who are going to be trying to destroy it. Glaring Fleshraker, 3 mana, for this 2/2. It says whenever you cast a colorless spell, create a 0/1 colorless Eldrazi spawn creature token, which you can sacrifice to add 1 colorless mana. And then whenever another colorless creature you control enters the battlefield in your control, it deals 1 damage to each opponent, so pinging all of your opponents. 4 mana for this Awakened Amalgam. Its power and toughness are equal to the number of differently named lands you control. Traxos, Scourge of Krug, 4 mana for this 7/7 with trample. It doesn't untap during your untap step, but it does untap anytime you have a historic spell, so like an artifact or a legendary creature entering the battlefield, it untaps it. We have a lot of those. That's not going to be a problem for us. Walker of the Waste, 5 mana for this 4/4. It has trample and it gets +1/+1 for each land you control named Waste. We have a lot of Waste. That's going to become a big creature. Speaking of big creatures, we have Ulamog's Crusher, 8 mana for this 8/8 with Annihilator 2 that attacks every combat. Artisan of Kozilek, 9 mana for a 10/9 with Annihilator 2. And when you cast this spell, you may return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. Really good extra value there. And our 2 biggest heavy hitters that are not named our commander, we have Ulamog, the Ceaseless Hunger, 10 mana for this 10/10 with Indestructible, and when you cast it, you get to exile 2 target permanents, and when it attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of their library. So it's not even just mill, it is like super toxic mill. A disgusting card right there. And then Ulamog, the Infinite Gyre, we have 11 mana for a 10/10, also with Indestructible, and when it enters, you get to destroy target permanent, and it has Annihilator 4, so just mowing through all of your opponent's permanents. We have a few equipment to attach to our commander when it comes out to protect it. Things like Swiftfoot boots, give it haste. Like we said, we want to be able to swing right away, but also a little bit of protection there, although it has a dumb amount of protection in and of itself. Sword of Feast and Famine, 3 mana for this. But equipped creature gets +2/+2, so now it's a 14/14, has protection from black and green, which are probably some of the best ways to destroy things. And it says whenever equipped creature deals combat damage to a player, that player discards a card and you untap all lands you control, giving you even more mana to do even more messed up shenanigans. Explorer's Scope, 1 mana for this, and whenever equipped creature attacks, look at top card of your library. If it's a land card, put it onto the battlefield tapped, help you ramp and get your commander out even faster. Tarion Soul Cleaver, 1 mana for this, 2 to equip, gives your creature vigilance, so if you put it on your commander, knock your opponents around a little bit, but then still be able to block with it. Very nice. And then whenever another artifact or creature is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on equipped creature. Basilisk Collar, classic. Death Touch, and Lifelink. What's better than knocking your opponents for 12 damage? Gaining 12 life. Pretty nice deal there. Hedron Matrix, 4 mana and 4 to equip, but then equipped creature gets +X/+X, where X is its converted mana cost. So now your commander goes from a 12/12 to a 24/24. Yeah, you're going to be killing a lot of people with that. We have a few other ways to get our commander through with things like Smoke Bomb, 3 mana, flash, all creatures have Shroud, protect everything, but then at the beginning of your upkeep, sacrifice Smoke Bomb. When you do, target creature you control can't be blocked this turn. You are guaranteed to punch an opponent with that. Now, I just want to do a quick pause here because she put in a very toxic combo. I don't know why it's in here, but she just decided that stealing all of your creatures wasn't bad enough, so this was included as well. Storage Matrix. If you're not familiar with this, you're very lucky because it's a toxic card. 3 mana, and it says as long as Storage Matrix is untapped, instead of each player untapping the permanents he or she controls during his or her untap step, that player chooses artifacts, creatures, or lands, and untaps all permanents of the chosen type he or she controls. So, let me break it down if that didn't make sense for you. Basically, instead of on your upkeep, instead of untapping everything, no, you have to choose one type of things, and you can only untap those that turn. However, it does say only if that's untapped. Well, we have things like Manifold Key, Vaultic Key, and Icy Manipulator, which allow you to tap or untap target artifact. Obviously, you're using it to tap things, but this gives you the ability, I guess the main one being the Icy Manipulator. Icy Manipulator with the Storage Matrix will allow you to tap it before your turn starts, so all of your stuff gets untapped, but then your opponents, all of their stuff stays tapped except for one category. That is very, very toxic. Tell her she's mean for putting that in the deck. Speaking of mean things or dealing with your opponent's things, we have All is Dust. It says each player sacrifices all colored permanents he or she controls. You have no colored permanents. Your opponents have nothing but colored permanents. This is going to send them back to the Stone Age, and it's not going to be very pleasant. Titan's Presence. You gotta show a colorless creature card from your hand. You have a bunch of them. Exile target creature if its power is less than or equal to the revealed card's power. And with all your Eldrazi, that'll be very easy to do. Null Elemental Blast, 1 colorless mana, and you can counter target multicolored spell or destroy target multicolored permanent. Really, really good value with that for only 1 mana. There is also Unwinding Clock, 4 mana. Untap all artifacts you control during each other player's untap step. You have so many artifacts. You are going to be getting a lot of value with this Unwinding Clock every single turn. Quicksilver Amulet, 4 mana to play it, and then 4 mana to tap it, put a creature card from your hand onto the battlefield, so cheat out some of those really big Eldrazi. And then, just to make sure if that wasn't enough, we have Darksteel Forge. Artifacts you control have indestructible. Yeah, no, your opponents are not messing with your stuff. Those things are there for good. Geode Golem works really well with this deck. It's 5 mana for a 5/3 with trample, and if it deals combat damage to an opponent, you get to cast your commander from the command zone without paying its mana cost. That is incredible. Tax evasion right there will allow you to get your commander out way faster than anybody was expecting and steal your opponent's stuff. Then the final piece of interaction with this is making sure that this is repeatable so that you can constantly be stealing the creatures of whoever is the biggest threat at the table. So we have things like Blood Clock and Umbilicus. Very odd cards, but they say at the beginning of each player's upkeep, that player may pay 2 life. If they don't, they must return a permanent they control to its owner's hand. So an odd card that you normally wouldn't do is really going to make your opponents kind of think about how they do things. Are they going to be paying the life? Or are they going to have to constantly be recasting stuff? Well, for you, that is totally fine. You are okay with returning your commander to your hand, because once it's in your hand, you can then use cards like Trading Post, which for 1 mana, you can tap, discard a card, gain 4 life, or Grimoire of the Dead, which says pay 1, tap, discard a card, put a study counter on Grimoire of the Dead. Why are we wanting to discard a card? Well, we want to discard our commander. Once we're discarding it, you then get to pay the madness cost of 6 colorless mana and cast your commander. So you're getting a half price commander just by working with these and getting value off of it as well too. We also have Campfire, which says pay 2, tap, exile, put all commanders you own from the command zone, from the graveyard, into your hand. So this is, again, another way to either avoid commander tax or get your commander into your hand, where we have repeatable ways of casting our commander or putting it out through the madness to cheat that cost, steal our opponent's creatures, make them mad, and win all the games. I have been on the receiving end of this deck. It is incredibly frustrating to play against. It is very strong. It goes quick. Even though it's an expensive deck, all of that ramp works very well. But yeah, let me know down below what you guys think about this deck. If you like toxic deck builds like this, we are posting videos every Friday. Make sure you like, subscribe, and ring the bell notification. And there will be a video up in the corner of the recommended video. Make sure you check it out, and I'll see y'all next time.